man. Is that Double D? Yeah, man. Well, turn it up, man.
Let's just go in and, like, kill all the orcs, right? They're the bad guys. Who gives a shit? We just hack and slash and we loot their dead bodies, right? Hack and slash, kill them all, you know, conquer the infidels.
Boy, that campaign sounds like a barrel of fun, doesn't it?
Somebody who's opening a refrigerator and leaning in, right, is the language of a woman. Somebody who's opening the refrigerator and being cut off halfway through that lean is the voice of like a mermaid or a siren. Right?
Dada speaks to you.
This is not the face of the hobby anymore. And I think there's been mistakes made in years past where people assumed that D&D players were all, you know, white dudes in a basement. Which has been a faulty assumption for a lot of years and gets more and more false every day. And so it's, in my viewpoint, honestly, guys like me can't leave soon enough.
I just had to be born with empathy and a weakness for socialism and femboys.
You gotta put a little hot sauce on the taco, you know what I mean?
We want this dwarf to be the dwarfiest dwarf.
Right.
We want the elf to be the elfiest elf.
And just the dashiest dash of Tabasco.
Their voices need to carry across water.
I'm a creative. It's a huge drain, right? Because fans can be awful.
When we got the descriptions, they were very adamant. They were like, try not to make it like a white blonde guy. Like, please, like, we love him, but there's like 500 million of them.
The diversity that the characters need to have needs to reflect the gaming world now. The mix of people that are playing these games, you know, it's not, 13-year-old white boys held up in their basement. It's a very diverse crowd,
You say white lives matter, they don't. White lives don't matter because white lives aren't a thing.
What's this?
What's this? It's the jacket.
The jacket.
Lutherville, Marina Del X, Otisburg. Who's this monster? She's got her own place. Otisburg. It's a little bitty place. Otisburg. Okay, I just wiped it off. That's all. It's a little town. Yep.
Okay. We'll do it live. Okay.
No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
5, 4, 3.
Great, Sam.
We dumping chump. It's a landslide, sir.
On guard.
Have a look at the headlock here. See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis!
Double zeros, baby!
Woohoo! How we doing? I'm going to get one right away.
Bam.
Right from the get-go. We dumping chump. It's a landslide, son. You have gifted one membership. My ear trumpet has been struck by lightning, a.k.a. Mercurius, a.k.a. Toby. Your name is Toby. How is everybody doing? Holy smokes.
Rapid fire.
Whoops. Oh, that's not going to do anything. Old habits. Mac Thompson, $2. No orcs allowed in the Magaza strip. The Magaza strip. Yeah, we can talk about that. Hope everybody's doing well. Already almost 70 of you in here. Thank you all for coming out. No Crazy Mouse tonight.
Not today.
Not today, but as you can hear, we have someone else.
This gives me the tingle.
I love that little thing.
I do too.
This makes me very zen.
How's everybody doing?
Yep, looks like all is well. Now we have somebody backstage, Iger, to come in. It's our old friend, Dr. Greg Gillespie. How you doing, Greg?
I'm great. How's everyone doing tonight?
Well, we are just fine. Looks like the chat is already rocking and rolling.
Good. Good to see everybody coming out, and good to have a chat tonight.
The Magaza strip. Yeah, hit that like button, peeps. It'll help the stream get seen. Well, it's been a little while since we've been on, although we've I said, we have talked outside of the show. We were in the same fantasy football league, which you kind of got screwed out of a little bit. I do see that after the fact. You were very generous. You dominated the regular season, and then we kind of made a last-minute rule change in the playoffs, which kind of bit you in the rear end, did it not?
Yeah, it did. I was. I knew that my team was kind of descending in the last couple weeks, and I had a few players in the Rams, which really screwed me over. And then another player was ascending, and that's kind of when we did the rule change, which is fine as long as everyone had fun. That's what it's all about.
You were a good sport. You were a very good sport. I had a lot of fun. I can't wait to do it again next year. So we were talking a little bit off air about North Texas, which everybody's kind of signing up for. And you are going to be at North Texas RPG Con, are you not?
Yeah, I'm going to actually, I'm going to go down a couple of days early and game with some new friends in Austin, and then drive up with them for the usual Wednesday to Sunday trip and run a few games, and I'll run a couple off-schedule games. So if anybody's in the chat is going, and if you can't get into one of my games, just harangue me at some point. I'll probably run some off-schedule stuff, and happy to incorporate and kill off as many PCs as possible over the weekend.
I'm looking at it. Of all people, it's weird because Crazy Mouse, who's obviously a dedicated gamer. He's been in my game for 25 years now. But I think it would be fair to say he's kind of like a casual gamer, right, Rogan?
Yeah.
But he came up and he out of the blue texted and said, I want to go to North Texas RPG Con, but I can't go this year. He's like, I want to go next year. So just out of the blue, it was kind of interesting that, he's not like a real hardcore gamer. He's kind of a casual, let's have fun kind of a gamer. So
we're talking 2026?
I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm still looking at my schedule, seeing if I can make it work for this year. It's definitely one that I kind of want to go to.
Well, if you want to go, I can. We can room together. We can sort that out.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. Disco Barbarian, how you doing, DB, for $5? Yar Dog Brothers and Sword Sisters. All this American winning is making me tired. Just kidding. I fucking love it. Hope you're all doing well tonight. I know I am. I think Greg is too. Thank you, DB. Much appreciated. Yeah, what's your view on Trump's first couple weeks in office here?
Well, I think he's putting the right people in the right places from what I can see, and I know sometimes like if you're speaking to most of my friends are Americans, so in speaking to them, they're very much focused on the national scene, but I think Trump is as focused on the international scene, and that's kind of like where a lot of his moves make sense to me. Like the U.S. is not a country that should be running debts with other countries, and China and some of the other players on the international stage are playing a long game, and the U.S. has to play a long game in return. And so I think getting things in order with Canada, getting things in order with the EU, getting things in order with the UK, and in most instances, making them worse for those countries, which is not only better for the US economically, but politically, it's a good idea too, because a lot of these places are being run by woke globalist dickheads. So by making it worse, he'll force conservative government in those other places.
Yep. I'll have something to say about that in a moment. I just want to acknowledge Jeff Hatch, 19 months of membership. Also, HatchCon. There it is. Keep it in mind, people. It's out there. Let's see. Contact Jeff at planetpulp@gmail.com. There you go. I gave you your plug there, Jeff. Yeah, I think, let me go back to the comments. I know, Rogan, I put you behind there. Hold on here. Hold on. We'll go down. There we go. All right, you can start there.
I'll click this one.
Badger, $5. He's got a fever, and the only prescription is more Dragonslayer.
Yeah.
Well,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
We got you covered, guys. If you're interested, we'll get into it in just a moment. If you're interested in any of Greg's, products, his legendary mega dungeons, or the still relatively new Dragonslayer RPG, the link is in the description for this live stream. There you go.
So what's your impression so far with Trump? You're happy with the way things are going?
Over the moon. Also, if you want to gauge my mood, just see who's mad.
The press secretary is a significant improvement.
Oh God, yes, yeah. I loved how she came out, today. It was talking about the $8 million that Politico got, in subscriptions, essentially, just wasting our taxpayer dollars. A transgender opera overseas. Good Lord. And it's like first they deny it, and then they'll say, well, it's not that much money. Like, oh, I guess we can afford to just piss it away.
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break. When these people are screaming mad, it's like my soul fills up now. It's not like 2016, 17, where we kind of didn't understand, gee, why are these otherwise normal people mad? We've realized over the last 7 years they're not normal people. They'll never be normal unless they wake up, and smell the coffee. Mm-hmm. Patrick Demo, $2. You guys hitting Gen Con this year? I don't think we are, Patrick. I just don't think schedule-wise it's going to work, unfortunately. Even though it is, it definitely has its bad parts. It is a spectacle, and that's how I got to see you and your lovely wife and a couple other folks. So we may hit some smaller cons this year. So we will see. Mercurius again for $2 Australian. What's happening with Greenland? I don't know how serious we are. I mean, I guess I can see where it does have value, but sometimes I wonder if Trump just kind of does this as kind of like the art of the deal. Like, I'm gonna set 3 different fires, and I'm gonna watch as these people go around trying to swear at it and put it out and all that while he's just kind of focusing on something else. So I'm not sure how serious it is, but who knows?
If I was Trump, I would go specifically to the premier of Alberta, and I would try to cut a deal with her.
Yes.
Because Alberta is so resource rich. It's the powerhouse of Canada. So if you wanted to really do something that would be a boon to your country and stick it to Trudeau, I would go to her. And because, the first thing that Biden did was he canceled that oil pipeline with Alberta, which made no sense at all. And it was all set to go. They just had to turn the switch. But that's what I would do if I was him.
Yeah, he talks about, let's make Canada the 51st state. And obviously, that's a little tongue-in-cheek. But if he wanted to make it a little more laser-focused, because honestly, I don't want Canada as our 51st state, because it'll just be California, essentially. But if he just said, how about we make Alberta our 51st state? Well, then now we might be talking, actually.
So the thing is, most Canadians, because they're just busy like everybody else, they're paying their mortgages, raising their children, doing their thing. They don't really realize how bad we have it here. So if you wanted to compare the GDP per capita of Canada, coast to coast, with the states, we would be above Mississippi and below Alabama. We would be the second worst off GDP per capita in comparison to the United States, to your various states. But like the taxes are just so far out of whack that you can't. It's very difficult to get ahead here.
John Osborne, $5. Shekels to shill. Check out Chris Kennedy Publishing for sci-fi and fantasy fiction, free of "quote unquote" the message. Will do. There you go. Thank you, John. Chris Kennedy Publishing. Thank you. Well, you guys got to pay for that magnificent healthcare system where people die on waiting lists.
Oh, it's just dreadful.
They encourage you to do the right thing and take the easy way out. Well, the easy way out for them.
But the thing is, we like we don't put the money into our military to be able to defend ourselves. So we're de facto relying on the U.S. by not putting money into our own military to deal with any incursions into the Arctic by Russians or anybody else. Yeah. And and Canada and our politicians have taken advantage of that situation for far, far too long.
Yeah, and you needed, I think, somebody like Trump to just say, "All right, look, the free ride's over. We're going to at least get something for this." I don't know. I don't know why it took so long. It's like with these tariffs and all that. I know they're a bit of a negotiating ploy, but it's like, why do we just readily accept down here that everybody else is going to impose all these tariffs? You can't sell your shit over. You can't sell a Ford over in Germany. Or a Chevrolet or anything like that, and just it's just the way it is. Well, fuck no. Mm-hmm. If we're paying for your defense, guess what? We should be able to sell every last bit of our stuff over there.
Oh yeah, and it would drop if we allowed more American businesses and banks and other industry into Canada. It would drop our prices.
Yes.
But they don't want that. Our government likes to give out monopolies and then maintain those monopolies. And meanwhile, and then the price creeps up and price creeps up. I mean, it's cheaper for me to fly to the UK than it is to fly to British Columbia.
That's wow. That's sobering. James, $5. Gillespie is from gay North Dakota.
Yeah, I guess you call a snow Mexican.
Well, I think if you had your druthers, you'd be down here with us at least.
I would. Yeah, I would do that. Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's our international focus at least for now. We'll swing it back to gaming a little bit. I don't know. Have I ever asked you you wrote a rule set, Dragonslayer, the RPG. Like I said, you can find it in the link in the description. All of Greg's stuff on drive-through. What is your views on home rules and house rules and the whole rules as written versus kind of like Gary's, hey, just do what you can. Do you have a strong feeling on those or?
Well, for me personally, I want to play rules that are usable and fair at the table. So with Dragonslayer, in its embryonic stages, we would try new rules and we'd tweak them. And so it was all part of it. And if somebody had an idea, then we would bring that to the table and we'd try it. And sometimes it wouldn't last beyond one combat. And other times it would be something, okay, well, there might be a kernel of an idea here. And so I don't really AD&D is not a good example to use of rules as written because, the rules were created to screw Arneson out of royalties. So, and as soon as you read AD&D with that understanding, now you can look at it and say, well, that's why Gygax wanted some takebacks years and years later. Because some of them just weren't great rules. They were just there to distinguish it from regular D&D to go to get Arneson out of the mix.
Whoops. Patrick Demo, $10. Dr. Gillespie, how much money was spent on art for Dragonslayer? I'm a game designer and an artist. He is. But I don't want to have to illustrate all of my own games. The production cycle will take too long. I think you spent a pretty penny on art, did you not?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I will spare no expense when it comes to that. So there's a couple different things you can do if you're thinking about making a dungeon or a role-playing game or whatever supplement. So if you have an artist you really like and they have rates, sometimes you can go to them and you can say, well, if I give you volume, would you work with me a little bit on rate? And some artists will do that for you. And I've been very fortunate to work with artists that are willing to do that. But the standard, the other issue too, when it comes to art is the standard. So over time, the art standard has gotten higher and higher and higher, and people want more of it. So that also factors in. And then oftentimes when I think about a project, I think about, what's the pie in the sky? What's like the coolest, most awesome thing I could possibly do? And then how much would that cost? So for example, in Dwero Deep, I wanted all these like running strips at the bottom that communicated the content of the page, but also told the story of these iconics that were in the pre-gens on the bottom of the page. And then, so you have to be crazy enough. You have to be willing to spend the resources, and then you need to find an artist who's crazy enough, who shares your vision. And if you can do those things, then you can do something that's truly legendary and epic. And that's what I wanted to do. And I have a very, like a lot of people out there, I have a fond space for dwarves. They're kind of like the Klingons of Star Trek. They're just super cool. And the more of them and the better they're done, the more interesting it is. So I wanted to make sure that that one really came across the way I saw it in my mind. And having that vision in your mind is the first thing. And then once you have that, because I can only draw you like a good stick figure, but then I can communicate it in a brief. And then the artist, once we get on the same page, we're in the same ballpark, then you're away to the races.
See a couple others. Patty is here from Rumble. Good to see you here, Patty. Hungar is a defender. Thank you so much, Hungar. Good to see you here, buddy. Ryan Nilsson wants to know if there's any news on the Maze controller screen.
Not just yet. I've been busy working on I was asked to do the convention adventure for North Texas. So I actually just delivered that this morning. The final draft, the cover and the interior, and that's the adventure that Double D and I and some others played last January. So that was kind of exciting. It had been play tested 3 times, and then rewrote it, and that'll be the convention module this year at North Texas if you're there.
Good to see you, Roxy.
Hey,
Chris Miller. Yeah, we were kind of talking about that too. I guess I didn't realize it at the time, or maybe it just kind of slipped my mind. But yeah, you did kind of like a live play over like 5 or 6 weeks last year, right around this time, and it was really nice. Actually, that's how I got to meet Keelan, the wonky, who I'm actually doing something with now.
Yeah, Keelan was super fun to play with, and a couple of my original Barrowmaze players were in that game too, and that was a real fun. That was fun for me because you were in it, and then some original players in my Barrowmaze campaign, and a couple other players I played with in the '90s when we played Second Edition, and everyone just all came together at the same time. And Keelan I had met a couple times, and I thought, okay, well maybe he'd like to play, and he's super fun at the table, and he's got a quick wit.
Oh, he was. I could pick up on him right away when he was just kind of his whole vibe, being the cleric. He was perfectly cast as the cleric, and I'm like, I like this guy already. Then I heard him talk, and I'm like, all right, I definitely want to talk to this guy more. So yeah, that was very fun. So if any of you saw that, and I think some of you were tuning in, that adventure we played, you kind of wrote that up as a kind of like a special, and I love these too. These, only appearing at, in this case, North Texas RPG Con module, like in the old days when they used to have like the Gen Con, only adventures. So this is going to be available at North Texas, and probably only North Texas unless you have some left, right?
Yeah, that's the idea. So it'll be like what I plan to do is once the last 2 the mega dungeons were done, I thought there were like little spots that I wanted to parachute adventures that were more in like the TSR 32 pager style. So I thought, okay, well, I'll do that down the road. But then it just kind of took place that this opportunity was available. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll write it up. But I've never actually made something that small in comparison to my regular stuff. And then just pulled it together, and so it's set in the Barrowmaze universe, and it'll be the first of several that I'm looking forward to doing in the future. And what I'll do is I create the ideas, Then I'll run them at conventions, and I'm going to run some at DaveCon in April. I'm really super excited to go back to Minnesota, and then over time I'll play test them and then rewrite them and create them into small adventures.
James says he's had for $2 multiple total party kills in Barrow Maze.
Yeah.
We didn't have a TPK, but Rogan's character unfortunately bit it there. It was a tough ride.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge. You know, to get out was pretty epic as well. I don't want to give anything away, but it was very enjoyable, intense and enjoyable.
Yeah, well, my I don't do a lot of necessarily strange voices and things at the table. My forte is procedural dungeon crawling. And when you get that down pat, it's really super old school, and that's the thing that keeps player characters alive. Following the procedure and doing the smart things, but it's like human nature, right? Like you know the right thing to do, but you don't always do it, and that's the difference between keeping your character alive and having those strange instances where you die off.
So are you talking here about procedurally, like, okay, the way I'm describing this, be aware something might be dangerous here. Is that kind of what you're talking about? And like, if they choose to ignore that, then
well, just knowing how to go about dungeon crawling. So listen, test the floors, look in the ceiling, and then proceeding a little bit, and then doing those things over again, and then and again, most of the stuff you can learn in Sun Tzu's The Art of War. All warfare is deception. Only fight on ground of your choosing. So those kind of things, and especially, and that really informs the engine in Dragonslayer. So typically, players are always at a combat disadvantage. So and combat's really just for desperate men. Those are the kind of things that you only do when you're cornered. And if you do have to engage in combat, pepper with range attacks, select your ground to get an advantage, lure monsters into traps. Like, never fight head on. Don't bust the door down and assume that everything's going to go your way. So
yeah. It's always I think my group is kind of learning. We've had a relatively new player come in. The first one in 20 years came in it's probably about 4 years ago now.
Has it been that long?
I think so. Yeah,
wow,
3 or 4 years.
Goes by fast.
And he has kind of, I think before the group was more or less, and maybe this is partially my fault. Maybe they just kind of expected, like, well, we should probably fight these. But he's kind of brought this attitude, like, why are we doing this? Do we really need to fight this? Mm-hmm. Why are we doing this? I've got plans, when we get back to the city. So it's always, I am kind of always like, part of me is smiling because it's like, that is the smart thing to do. Mm-hmm. But of course, I think there's also the other part that says, well, you are heroes, so this is, I'll keep DMing however, you want to DM or what wherever you are. But in the same respect, if you don't fight anything, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Well, people probably know, like, I teach this course on the history and culture of role playing. And one of the things I did for many years is I did an interview with my class, and I selected, like, James Raggy, very kindly joined us. I did artists, and there's a group in Vancouver, British Columbia, and they would meet in a cafe and play D&D, once a week, and they did 100 sessions. But what they did, so the person DMing was running a one-page dungeon, and what the players did was they went through the dungeon, they cleared it out, but they didn't move on to a new dungeon. They would go back to that same one, knowing they had found all the pits, they had set off all the traps, and they would only go in for about 8 minutes, and then they'd go back out so there wouldn't be a random monster. And then they go back in, and they go. But the point is, like, that's a little bit of an extreme case, but they're gaming you as the person running the game, and you'll countermeasure, you'll game them back. But they're doing things to keep their players alive, keep their characters alive, I should say. And so, yeah, I would be the same way. I'd be smiling on the inside, like, okay, you understand how this game works. But at the same time, you might miss out on a little bit of treasure here and there, but you're probably going to live longer.
Yeah, look, it's a it's one or the other. You either go down in legend as, the hero who, defeated, this great monster, or, you live a long time and, you're very rich, and everybody's just like, oh yeah, I think that guy used to rob dusty tombs and, stuff like that. So yeah, I am kind of enjoying this, kind of like a fresh perspective, as it were.
It has changed, it has changed the dynamic in the group. It really has made us all think a little bit more.
Yeah, and that's not a bad. It's not a bad thing if you guys have a chance. As long as they pass your vetting process. Our vetting process is, look, we got to be able to hang out with you outside of the game. If it's always the best. They like, could we hang with this person? Could we go to a bar and just have a couple drinks and, just talk about chit chat about other things? And if you pass that test, then yeah, you could sit at our table. Snake Oil Sean, 5 memberships. Thank you, buddy.
Bam.
Much appreciated. All you guys super chatting. Thank you so much.
Well, I always view, I viewed it a little bit differently. I don't see the characters necessarily as heroes, aka Luke Skywalker. I see them as tomb robbers, aka Han Solo. So they might do good if it's in their interest to do so, but they're also self-interested, and part of that's survival, and part of it is I'd like gold to be able to do whatever I want to do. So I like a more moral ambiguity, perhaps. So I mean, that doesn't mean you can't do heroic things, but are you heroic in the eyes of the town or the city? Maybe, maybe not.
Exactly. Badger for $2. Badger's Maxim. I think he's talking about game with people you can be friends with. Yeah, exactly. Yep. It's always a good litmus test. Yeah, and I mean, you have to be careful as a DM. You don't want to impose what you think they should be. They are what they want to be.
Right.
So if you have it in your mind, like, well, these guys should be heroes. Well, they don't, maybe they don't want to be frontline heroes. Maybe they just want to get this character to level 10 or something, and that is perfectly fine. So
right,
yeah.
But at the same time, they need to be playing their alignment. So if the whole party's filled with lawful good characters and they're morally ambiguous, well, now I'm going to craft a situation that's going to put them in a two-way go, and then we'll see how that plays out. So they need to play their alignments too.
We had a interesting situation last week.
Oh gosh.
Rogan's character was in the spotlight for the wrong reason. He's marrying, one of the most beautiful women in the imperial city of Anyer. And while they were gone, they were doing an adventure up north. My wife's character had a quest she had to fulfill because she she violated her oaths as a cleric, so she had to make that right, which she did. And they came back. So Rogan's character was gonna marry Christiana, and he came back to find out she had slightly bigger plans for their wedding than maybe he did. He was.
I have some gold stacked away, but I wasn't ready for that. Holy moly!
She's laying on him like, all right, so we can get a good wedding for 5,000 gold, but 10,000 gold will get us a wedding, that the city will talk about forever.
And for the double platinum,
yeah. And then his character's. I don't even think his character was. I think you were.
Oh,
I think you were breaking out in a sweat like it was real money.
I'm having a little panic. I'm kind of looking back at my wedding, and
she's like, "What?" I had Christiana say, "So what do you what do you think? What do you want?" And he gave the classic man response, "What do you want?" Threw it right back at her.
Yeah, 100%. Well played. Wisdom 18.
Thank you.
So if you couldn't tell, that's usually an indication I'm getting ready to come up on a break. I've been going probably for about a year and a half, and I'm about ready for a couple months out of the chair, and that's when Rogan steps in and we play another game. So figured the wedding would be kind of a nice, the dangerous part more or less is already dealt with the quest and all that. Now they're back in familiar surroundings, and we can kind of have a little bit of a mini finale here before I take my break.
My character has to find some place to get a loan.
Yeah, he's got to cough. He's got to find some money.
Yeah, there was a comment. Oh, sorry. There was a comment in the chat there. Somebody was asking about clerics and paladins and if are they playing their alignment or whatever. Yeah, I do. I have atonement. If you're, if you're breaking the rules of your order or of your temple or your god, then yeah, I mean, it's interesting to put in atonements for that sort of thing, or to tithe more money or whatever it may be.
I think the way my wife's, character, what happened to her, I mean, they were going into it's called the Shadow World in Birthright. But they had to go into this deep into this mountain, and there was a portal to go into the Shadow World. But you had to swear allegiance to the Cold Rider, which is the god of the Shadow World, to enter. You had to make an oath swearing allegiance. And my wife is like, well, I did it, but I just did it to go there so I could protect them. As a DM, of course, I can't say anything, but, outside I said, I understand. You made a call, and, maybe in the moment it was the right call, but there are consequences to that. She lost all contact to her god, and then was given a vision and said, hey, to atone for this, you have to, do this quest. So I think she understood, it made a nice thing where she kind of trained, for like several months, to get ready for this quest. So it all kind of worked out. But I think those kind of things make the game more interesting. You put him in a little dilemma. You know what I mean? I'm not telling her do one thing or the other. I'm just putting the doorway there. She could have sat her ass outside the door and waited for him, and all would have been well. But who knows? Maybe somebody dies on the other side because they don't have an extra sword arm.
It was quite a dilemma for the whole group. It kind of became. It really did.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what the game. To me, that's what the game's all about. Making these hard decisions.
Yeah, that's what it is about. You're right.
James for $5. I'd rather face a dungeon full of monsters than another wedding. You have a nice wife, James. Oh, maybe in-game wife. Yeah, yeah, it should be fun. I don't think we've ever had a big wedding in game, so we'll see. Thank you, Cal. He put the link for Dragonslayer in the chat. Yeah. So yeah.
And there are unredeemably evil orcs in Dragonslayer, so we can.
Yeah, I was going to say let's go ahead, hide that if you would, Rogan, and let me take control here for a moment. Yeah, I wanted to. All right, what do we want here? Okay. Okay, one moment.
Yes, I mean normal orcs, Disco Barbarian.
Yeah, just regular old orcs. Yeah, so this is from EN World, which is a garbage site.
It really is a garbage site.
Yeah, run by a chinless wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that guy. Are orcs in the monster manual? No and yes. Well, all right.
Are Mexican orcs in the monster manual?
Yeah. Si, senor. I love how they start this too. The culture war surrounding orcs in D&D continues with the release of 2025 Monster Manual. Well, we already know where you stand when you open it up like that. Review copies are out, and blah, blah, blah. So, here we start the second paragraph. Several months ago, would-be culture warriors. Why would they call them would-be culture warriors? I don't know. Maybe they're just straight-up culture warriors. Complained about the depiction of orcs in the new player's handbook. Instead of depicting orcs as bloodthirsty marauders or creatures of evil, orcs were depicted as a traveling species given endurance, determination, and the ability by their god Grumpsh to see in the darkness to help them wander great plains, vast caverns, and churning seas. I mean, it makes no sense conceptually, wandering great plains when you basically are nocturnal creatures. Silly.
Well, that's because what they do with this stuff is they divorce it from its source material. And the thing is, once you abstract from the source material, now the cultural meanings are unanchored. They hold less meaning, and they know not what they do. That's That's about the only way I can say it.
Well, I think they sort of know what they do. They just don't care.
Yeah.
You know,
That's effectively it.
Yeah, I mean, they can give you 100 different reasons why they did it. We all know the reason is because they think orcs are black people. And they don't, just like Drow. And I think even this article says, well, I'll read this super chat here by Asterion for $5. It's funny you ended a game with a PC wedding. My Warhammer Fantasy campaign ended the same way. Specifically, it was his character's wedding.
All right. I hope it's happy ever after.
Yeah. Well, this isn't the end. As you know, I have a 30-year campaign and still going. Just a break time. Yeah, I believe it or not, Double D does need to charge his batteries ever so often. So getting back here, trying to find I think what they did is, they, instead of having the traditional orc, stats as a monster, they're now covered under the expanded set of generic NPC stat blocks in the monster manual. Instead of players being limited to only 3 orc specific stat blocks, you can use any of the 45 humanoid stat blocks in the book. I mean, that tells me right there that, okay, then they don't really mean anything. If these are just generic, essentially generic templates, they don't really mean anything. So those 3 stat blocks that you used to get, for like the chieftain, the warrior, and whatever, those to me mean more than 45 just generic run of the mill, templates that you could just as easily use for a human, probably a drow, a dwerger, or whatever.
Well, so the thing is, when J.R.R. Tolkien was in World War I, and he's in a trench looking across at the other trench, there were no African Americans in those trenches. They were Germans and Austro-Hungarians. And so to suggest that orcs are black is dumb. It's unfounded. It's nonsensical relative to Tolkien's vision and depiction. And when he was thinking of the pillaging of the Shire, the pillaging of England, he wasn't thinking of African Americans doing that. So this whole argument is dumb. It's just stupid. It's been hijacked by deranged social justice warriors who are looking for a wedge into the hobby to suggest that what we're doing is, one thing or another, when it makes no sense. It's not based in the literature. It's not based in reality.
Yeah, I mean, it is useful for them. It's just it's funny how they bemoan the culture war here, yet this is a flag they planted firmly in the culture war on their side.
Yes,
they never see it that way though. They always think like, oh well, we're just doing the right thing.
Yeah, they think they're justified.
Yeah, exactly. And look, everybody thinks they're the good guy. Even the bad guys, think they're good guys. Chris Miller, $10. Thank you so much, Chris. Good to see you. It's all Marxist bullshit. Mm-hmm. It must attack canon and make it for quote unquote modern audiences that don't exist in order to whittle away the foundations of our Western civilization.
Hear, hear.
Yeah.
They're cultural Marxists grifting off race, period.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's funny how they use Nazis like so much as an attack, on anybody against them, and it's like they are even more racially focused than the Nazis were. Mm-hmm. The National Socialism, was socialism based on race, sort of, rather than economic class. And they have adopted that. Everything is about race. Did you see any of the Democrat? They were trying to pick their party chairs. I don't know if you saw any of the people trying to explain to their audience, these are all Democrats, what their gender nomination rules were. I mean, it's hilarious.
What?
Yeah, maybe I'll pull it up in a little bit. But yeah,
was that in the last couple days?
It was.
Okay, so I saw it, but I didn't click on it. But yeah, I did. I was aware that it was happening.
Oh, it was definitely worth it. Yeah, in fact, I'll see if I can. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can find it here. It's hopefully I saved it in my Twitter, my X. Where is it? Oh, yep, here it is. Okay, all right. So, all right, we're gonna get rid of this piece of shit. 1 second here. Okay. All right. All right. So here it is. Oh, hold on. All right, 1 second.
Huh?
Yeah, I forgot to. I forgot to. One thing I don't like about EV Mux is it's just not very intuitive sometimes. Here we go. All right, here we go.
We're finding out ways to expedite this. Because of our gender balance provisions on this next ballot, you will be able to vote for 2 candidates of any gender on the next ballot. Okay? So on this next ballot, you will be able to vote for 2 candidates of any gender on the next ballot. If 2 candidates receive... I'm going to turn to Helen to clarify this last part.
I don't think the rules are solidly wrote. I think they're right in the midst of the day.
You are in this next ballot where you have 2 votes. As the chair has said, you may vote for 2 males, 2 females, 2 of any gender, okay? Nope, you can't do that because we've got to balance. You could vote for 1 of any gender, okay? Or no, non-binary gender, excuse me. It is late, okay?
What do you say to that?
Aren't they non-binary?
If they can't get it right, you know it's BS.
No, they can't.
Yeah, you can't even follow your own stupid rules. I mean, give me a fucking break. I love that poor brother at the start. He's trying, he's struggling, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Get the old white lady up here. She'll take the rap for this." Chris Miller, $5. Trump got 87.3 of the popular vote. These communist pedos need to read the frickin' room. Yes, thank you, Chris. Yeah, they don't. They're defiant. I thought maybe they'd be a little bit more cowed after the popular vote victory and all that stuff. They're they're hitting the ground running. I think that lunatic congressman already started to bring articles of impeachment against Trump. It's going to be a great 4 years. It's going to be a great 4 years. Yeah. I really am going to start laughing in these people's faces. And
it's interesting to see the disparity because I pay attention to UK politics as well. The States is going this way and the UK is going the exact opposite way. The stuff going on over there is unreal.
Insane. Hopefully Nigel Farage's party can restore some semblance of normal.
That'll be 4.5 years from now.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, how much more damage can they do? I mean, it may be irreversible.
Yeah, it's irreversible. No.
Let me ask you this. We have a pretty witty, pretty intelligent chat. What kind of advice would you give to any of these guys if they were looking? Maybe not. Don't start with the mega dungeon people. It's maybe just a regular old adventure. Like what beginner's advice would you give them? Like how to approach it, how to do business there.
Well, I would say the thing is, if you have a vision for, let's say, an adventure supplement, whatever it may be, if you have a vision, stay true to that vision. And because as soon as you start compromising who you are, your creativity, your freedom of language, your vision. As soon as you start to, as soon as you allow other people or contemporary context or ideology to chip away at your vision, the more lame it will become. And you can listen to people, that are in the hobby, and one like Merles, for example, who we spoke about. You kind of get a hint every now and again that perhaps he's not fully on board with some of the things that have gone on, and yet he's on board with everything that's gone on. Don't do that. If you have a vision, stick it out, because when you can tell the difference between somebody that has written their vision on the page and somebody that sacrificed their vision on the page. And one is cool, it has texture, it has intrigue, and the other is just kind of vanilla and lame. So that's the big meta that I would say is, if you have a dark vision for something, that's cool. I mean, so Bear Maze is dark, but it doesn't go beyond family friendly, because I think we're making games for adults primarily, but also for kids. And if somebody picks up your book, then that should be totally cool. But at the same time, when you're doing this thing with orcs, like we just talked about, come on, man. And then how do you distinguish between orcs and goblins, really? Why you're going to vilify orcs, but you're not going to vilify goblins? And then, gnolls are supposed to be an analog for Aboriginal peoples, but they're okay to leave in the monster manual. Trolls are often the analog for them is old men. Big, elongated noses, elongated ears, emaciated bodies, mean and grumpy. But they're okay to keep in. So it's a slippery slope. And in a few years' time, when they make the next edition of D&D, orcs might be back in and trolls will be vilified or whatever. Don't play that game. And the other part too is when we're tapping into things like Christian iconography, notions of good and evil, we've got monsters that tap into a sense of evil or a sense of darkness. And as soon as you take them out of that context, now they're not anchored anymore. That their meaning falls away. So some of the stupidity with the succubus and the incubus and the dryad, that makes no sense to me at all. These things are grounded in folklore. They're grounded in our mythological past. And Gygax understood that, and that's why AD&D still speaks to this day. This version, most recent version of D&D, will not speak. It'll be something that we look back and we shame as part of its time period. So I think that that would be the big meta that I would say. If you have a vision and you think it's fun and it's cool, stick to it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're big on stuff being timeless. Don't put any sort of modern, overt modern political messaging, regardless of which side it's on. Just classic storytelling. I thought I heard somebody say sometime, look, there's generally about 10 stories you can tell, and pretty much everything else is kind of a derivation of those. It's just the myriad of ways you can kind of put your different spin on it, and
that's true, yeah, for sure. The hero's journey is absolutely timeless. It's why the first Star Wars speaks, and none of these crappy Disney Star Wars things can, because it's tied. It's the notion of Beowulf having to go into the cave. These are the things that we've, when you sit around as a people and you tell stories around the campfire over and over and over, and you do it for generations upon generations, there's a legacy in our culture from that culture. And as soon as you start divorcing your game from those roots, you're making a big mistake.
I have to think, because there's this, especially in the last, 5 to 10 years, this huge push to just be every race essentially be the monster. I'm wondering if that's just kind of a subconscious revelation of some of these, because look, I'm not saying anybody who's playing like a tiefling or whatever is this, but I am saying, like the person who's always the tabaxi, or the cat. I think that's the cat people. Always the tiefling, always the this, always the that.
Mm-hmm.
I got to think there's something subconscious in there that they feel disconnected from humanity.
Yeah, they don't have a good sense of themselves.
Yes, yeah. I think there's some serious underlying issues, like in the macro, just by this focus on always wanting to be, what's this next race I can, now you can be an orc, you can play a drow, blah, blah. And I understand some of this stuff you could do back in the day, but I think we can both admit it was pretty rare. If you may every once in a while have one person who wanted to do this all the time, but generally it was, the three main races. I don't know if you have any comments on that, but to me, it just kind of says something about, to me, where some of these folks' heads are at.
I think it's the ideology of multiculturalism that has seeped into the game. It's like, so for Gygax, for example, he's like, well, why would you want to play a demi-human? And of those, why would you want to play anything other than a fighter? Because, all the cool archetypes were Perseus and all the iconography, the key icons of Western literature and culture. And so, they had to force some of these other classes on him. So I think, that's definitely part of it. And then over time, there's always somebody that wants to play some of the weird things. And it's not an option in my game, so we never really run into that.
Yes, same here. Thank God Birthright is a very, very Western European, very grounded in that. You do have elves, you do have dwarves, some halflings, and then that's about it. Yeah, mm-hmm. It's pretty much all humans. James for $2. This is why I stick to Slavic monsters. Yes, James is a big fan of Pundit's and Chris Miller's Baptism of Fire, which is kind of set in kind of a fantasy Poland. Very intriguing game. Very, very well done. I think I don't know, you don't know Pundit personally, but I think you know him kind of as professionally, and the research he puts into his stuff. It's very well done. Yeah. Mm. Patrick Demo, $5. Does that count for people who only want to be wizards? If so, I might need help.
I play a low magic game. I'm sorry. So there's still magic users and clerics and illusionists and all that stuff, but it's still a fairly low magic game.
Yeah, Mrs. D is actually right now the only magic user in the group. She's a cleric, and she's always like, "Is this spell okay? Do you think this is good?" So she sort of knows my. I think I did make a video on this. I don't know if you ever saw it, but I hate the spell fly. Mm. To me, it takes. It is the most cringy, stupid, in my opinion, spell out there. Like I can't conceive of a traditional adventuring party just kind of floating in the air, and then you have the people saying, well, just have them, get shot down, by somebody on the ground. And it's like, no, it doesn't work like that. They're not looking for, death from above. It's just it's so silly.
Anytime I hear about that, I think of what William Katz and the
Greatest American Hero.
Flopping around in the air.
Yeah, I'm not a featherfall. I'm fine with. That's fine. That's different. But fly. Plus, it's a cheap way. It's almost like you cheat your players out of the traditional, the sometimes the best part of the adventure, getting there. That's where you meet some NPCs along the way. You have a little bit of side adventures along the way. Well, how fun is it when the wizard says, like, yeah, I can cast fly. I can either come get you, or who knows, depending on the system. I can just cast it on everybody, and hey, we'll just go there. It's the old Lord of the Rings, well, why don't they just get the eagles to drop the ring inside the mountain? You know, it's like, well, because it would have sucked as a story.
Right.
And basically, that's what it comes down to. Let's see, catch some of these. Yeah, what if a fly made you sprout wings? Still gay. I mean, no. I mean, look, if you're in a system that has inherently, like the what are they called, the Akroka or whatever, you know, if yet another furry race. But yeah, I mean, if you actually have wings, then yeah, that's different. I'm not going to make you clip them, but then again,
You can polymorph into something that can fly.
Yeah, I would allow that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because that's different. You know, you turn into a bird or something, or something like that. Yeah, that's fine because that has roots in kind of has roots, sort of, at least to me, and at least if not fantasy literature, fantasy cinema.
Do you have a problem with like Magic Carpet or Broom of Flying or something like that?
No, not in conception. Although I would probably be careful giving it out, just because it's unfair to give it to them and then ask them not to use it.
Mm-hmm.
These guys understand. Like, look, I mean, there's no fly spell in this game,
and we're fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't feel cheated, do you?
No. Yeah. The notion of a character sprouting wings, or having an item that allows them to do that's great. Okay, they have the ability, but do they know how to fly?
Yeah.
I mean, a bird needs to learn how to fly.
Yeah, exactly. I thought I saw Wonky here earlier. So how you doing, Wonky? Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well up there in Alaska, the Great White North.
Well, I mean, there's for every measure, there's a countermeasure. So if the character can fly, then you can make something that's bigger, faster, and stronger that can fly too.
Yeah. And I mean, people made that point, and it's a fair point to make, but it's almost like the reason I don't like it is just because it just doesn't feel right. So I don't want to counter that with, well, it already doesn't feel right, so I might as well make it not feel right and make it even. So now we got air-to-air combat, and it looks like Pearl Harbor, and just no. I'm
what
very
about teleportation, dimension door.
Oh, that's fine.
How many people can we fit on this flying carpet?
Yeah.
Let's do the math.
There are various sizes.
That comes into play.
What if we just stand very stiff and very straight?
Can I use my crossbow while he's using his bow and arrow? I don't know if there's enough room. Maybe a couple of people need to get off.
Yeah, no, that's like dimension door and all that stuff, teleportation. That's fine. Yeah, to me that's traditional wizard shit. It's like, yeah, that's fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. Let's see here, Chris Miller. Ooh, it's out, peeps. Issue number 9, Mad Scribe magazine, available at drive-thru.
I am a few issues behind.
Yep. I'll have to pick that one up. Thank you, Chris, for the heads up. I'm trying to work, Chris, on a little adventure you can fit in there, like a 2-pager. So I'm doing it at work on my downtime. So there you go. I'll let you know if and when I'm done. James, $2. No Raise Dead Resurrection in my game. Yeah. How do you feel about that, Greg? Yeah, I imagine you're okay with it, right? As long as the proper price is paid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any problem with it per se. I mean, you do have to get the body back in a state that can be allow the resurrection or raise dead or whatever it may be. It's not a technology. So just because the person is resurrected doesn't mean that they're good to go 5 minutes later. So you can play that out. And then reincarnation is also interesting because speaking of, playing alternative races, that's one where it can happen in the confines of the game as, described in the spell. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, it generally just doesn't come up. I think when these guys die, I mean, they're ready to move on. I did do a resurrection once, and it did kind of have world spanning consequences for our campaign.
There was a huge price to pay.
Yeah, I mean, there was a huge price to pay, and I'm okay with that. Yeah, he was back. But
it doesn't come up often, like reincarnation or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's best left like, the subject of a huge quest, and like you said, Greg, consequences afterward. I always, think of like Conan. The barbarian, the movie, there's going to be a price to pay. Well, she paid with her life to bring him back. It's got to be something other than just, oh, do you have the ingredients? Do you have to do it? All right. You paid the price. Boom, you're back. Now you can just go adventure. I think it kind of cheapens the character's, maybe potential sacrifice if that's the case. So, but no, I'm not against resurrection in theory. I just think you should add a little bit more to it to make it a little bit more, in depth.
Interesting.
Yep. Is Chris Miller leaving again? My Lord, Chris, you're in and out. Good night, buddy. Good talking to you.
Did you want to show people the cover of the module?
Yeah, let's do that. I need control here, Rogan. All right, so this is going to be at North Texas RPG Con. The Crypt of the Barrow Dweller, limited edition, North Texas RPG Convention module, 2025. That's a great cover. Who did that cover?
So that's Ken and James, who did the cover of the monochrome Dragonslayer, and he's done art all the way back through Highfell, and obviously it's absolutely terrific. So we're really happy with it, and the color will match the monochrome Barrow Maze, so they'll dovetail nicely together.
Even look at just as nice on the back. That's a beauty. Usually the back art isn't quite up to snuff. This is every bit as good. Good Lord.
Yeah, and it has a nice that illustration has a nice fit in the adventure too.
Just beautiful. He's really good. I kept going through sometimes I'll just page through Dragonslayer just to kind of see the monster drawings, and I noticed his name. I'm like, who did this? And I'm like, oh, Ken and James. I'm like, that's a good art. That's a pretty good artist there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, it just leaps off the page, obviously. So very pleased.
We were kind of EFAPing Crawford and some other guy talking about the new monster manual, and they're in love with all of these in context pieces of art for every monster, and they seemed proud of the fact every piece of art is in context. There's it's not just a monster float, and they said it in a way they were almost like tweaking the old school, where it was just a picture of the monster. Mm-hmm. It's never just a monster hanging out there in black and white. It's always a dragon against whatever the sky or something like that. And I always think I don't have a problem with some of that kind of art, of course, but I don't think it's necessary for every monster. And I think in a way it kind of cheats you out of your imagination.
100%.
What's wrong with you figuring out how this monster fits in somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. I don't think you need to do it all the time. Anthropologists would call that in situ, where you see a thing in its context. And sometimes in the context can be valuable for understanding. Let's say you're obviously we have decades of experience in fantasy role-playing games, but let's say you didn't. And you came to it and you looked at the monster and you're like, okay, well, I see it's a ghoul and there's a cemetery there, or a tomb or a sarcophagus or something like that. And then you could say, oh, okay, there might be an opportunity where I could use that in my game. So on one hand, I could see it would give a little bit of a starter, and it's suggested context. I think that's how we should look at it.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I have no problem with either, but I don't like that they immediately exclude any sort of, just monster study. This is just this is what the thing looks like. Now it's up to you. Mac Thompson, $2. What if we want it but can't go to the con?
Well, then you'll have to find somebody who's at the con who can get you one. Yeah. Listen, my job was to create the content, to pay everybody, and then give it to them. So I'm I'm happy to do that. I mean, the North Texas has been very good to me. I treasure the friendships and the relationships that I've developed there, and the people I get to play with, and it gets me fired up to create new things. And so I was happy to do it. But if you can find someone that's at the convention to get you one, it'll probably be worth it, because in 10, 15, 20 years, there will have been a very limited number made, and it might be worth something down the road.
So no chance of a PDF for this one?
No, I don't think so.
All right, there you go. Beg, borrow, and
my call. So
yeah, DB wanted to know the same thing.
It's above my pay grade, which is 0.
Yes, there you go. Meet. We'll just get Garibay. We'll send him down from Philly to Irving, pick it up and deliver. Think of how many videos he could do along the way. Where do you kind of see the OSR at right now, Greg? And where do you think it's going to be in a couple of years? Are we just going to be stagnant, kind of? I mean, as always, just kind of like all the old guys who aren't playing the new game anymore, or is it? Do you see any kind of growth?
Well, if we look at recent history, like over the last decade or so, the OSR never did better than when 4th edition came out. So if we take an understanding, like say half the players are Republicans, I can't see those people being happy with this revision strictly for wokeness. So I would foresee the OSR doing better. And if conventions are any indication of the health of the OSR, it's never been healthier. Yeah. So that's good. And again, I would take, so if you took like the top 5 or 7 OSR creators, people like Jeff Talanian and others, and you put that lineup against the people running Dungeons and Dragons at Wizards of the Coast, I would take the OSR people over them any day. I think there's more creativity. Oh, yeah. I think there's more ingenuity. I think there's more production. I think the quality is better. And I think that those people aren't doing the game as a job. They love the game. So for all those reasons, I think that the OSR is poised to do very well over the next couple of years, because quite honestly, nobody wants to play a game where they're being preached at. And nobody wants to be told your values are wrong, except my values. That's not why we want to game. It's not why we want to get together with our friends, roll dice, and create fun stories at the table that we laugh about 10 years later. So, I think for all those reasons, I think the OSR is doing very well. I think it's going to do even better as this edition dies on the vine, really.
Yeah, I think just that they're coming up, not just, from our perspective, all the bullshit in it. I just think they're coming up on natural headwinds. I think people are I think it's kind of, I don't want to say run its course, but the boom has run its course. Now, obviously, they're going to hold on to more gamers because, the boom was so big, especially over COVID. Yeah, there'll be more holding on, but I can't see it growing, especially with this edition where just nobody of any talent. Like if you had told me that Merle's at least was still somewhere involved, I'd be like, well, all right, maybe there's something in there, but they made the foolish decision to just kind of sideline him and then ultimately get rid of him. There's nobody there. Look, I have a couple of insiders at Wizards of the Coast. There's nobody there. There's nobody there that can produce quality material. It's just either woke bullshit or just literal like neophytes, just noobs into the business.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you, and I just there's just too many mistakes being made. Like we talked about, divorcing the source material from its roots, revising for wokeness, doing these kind of things. I don't even like the art is not appealing to me at all. And that's the thing. Like I do spend a lot of time thinking about the art, how I want it to look, and then I fight with my artist friends, Kenan and Peter Bogano and others, about what I want and why I want it the way I want it, so that they understand. And there's no AI And if I ever down the road choose to use AI, I will make everybody aware that I'm using AI. But I've got no plans to do that. But Wizards of the Coast does stupid things. They use like AI and then they try to pass it off as somebody's work. You can't do that. I mean, just be genuine, be authentic with people. So it's mistake after mistake after mistake, and these things add up. And unless you're a slave to the brand, and why you'd ever want to do that, I have no idea. Why would you continue to support them? I don't get that.
Yeah, like Merles said, like in an interview, that D&D has become uncool again.
I wonder why.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I mean, he's a little more sane, for lack of a better word, than a lot of these folks, but he's still left of center, of course. Partly because I think he was sitting down with Ben Riggs, and we all know what an a-hole Ben Riggs is. But he was just kind of saying like, oh, the fun's over, D&D's uncool again. I don't know if uncool is the word for it, because it was uncool back in the day when you would get mocked mercilessly in high school if they found you were playing D&D, or let's just say it wasn't the opening line for going out with a woman. Hey, back in 1987, hey, honey, I play D&D. Well, all right. So that was sort of the uncool time. I think right now, as I said earlier, I think it's just we're on to a new thing. There's something new.
Well, all that, to me, it means that they created a game that was acceptable to tourists, and tourists come and go. And in the meantime, the people in the OSR just consistently do their thing over time, and we aren't swayed by the ideology of the moment, and we just continue to do our thing regardless of circumstances. And then when I look at other people that are creating, those are the people that interest me. The one and done folks don't really do much for me. The other part too is, I think it's hilarious that they're coming out with the wokest version of D&D ever at exactly the same time that President Trump has taken over and is going to get rid of all this DEI nonsense. I think their timing couldn't be worse, and that's just terrific for them, because they're going to look like idiots. And as this is literally going to die on the vine. So it's coming at exactly the wrong moment.
I agree. It's I think it's going to be in trouble. Jeffrem for $5 Canadian. Hi, Greg, Double D, and Rogan. Greg, what would you say are the biggest creative mistakes that writers make in RPG content creation?
Well, for me, like if you look at the things I've written, I tried to get in to exactly what the person running the game needs to know, and then get out. We don't need the long-winded stories. We don't need the effusive prose. Just get in there, communicate in as few words as possible, so that the person running the game, if they're, you have to assume that everybody is fixed for time. So, they're busy with their jobs or raising their kids or doing whatever it is they're doing. And so people may not have a lot of time to prepare. So you need to be able to communicate in as few words as possible, as concisely as possible, and then move on to the next thing. So if you can't take your project and communicate it to someone in one sentence, you don't know what you're doing. That's what you have to be. You have to take something that's really complex, communicate it in as few words as possible. And that's why I don't do box text. Like, I know it was a big part of the modules that we played growing up, but people just tune out. And most people read monotone. They don't read with dramatic flair. And often the prose isn't written for dramatic flair, so that also sucks. So that's one of the reasons why I don't like box text. So, you may, if box text is your thing, that's great, but you have to write it in a way for somebody that doesn't know how to dramatically convey that box text. And that's hard to do. So, I would just say, be as concise as you can, Try to get rid of needless words. Be absolutely ruthless with yourself, and that's a good starter. That's good, just general good advice for whether you write a cover letter or whether you're writing a role playing game.
Yeah, and I would reiterate. I had a feeling you'd mention the box text, and I agree 100%. It came kind of from a time when, look, people maybe, I don't want to say didn't like know how to GM, but it was really made for people who were picking up something and being like, how do I run this damn thing? You know, and it's like, how do I even conceive of this? You know, so I think those were written to really help out the new DMs out there.
I think so. And it was a different time, right? You know, a lot of people, D&D was a new paradigm.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to convey things. And we're just in a different time now.
Yeah, but you do it a lot better. Give the things that, you know, they would see right away, just kind of put small little blurbs, you know, dark room, you know, there's, you know, thrown in the middle, you know, it's just stuff like that, you know, pillars around. It doesn't have to be flowery, you know, maybe give them like the basics to start with. And then, you know, if there's any detail that needs to be filled in, you know, fill that in underneath. But don't, as a DM, don't ever read box, even if, you know, it's there, don't ever read it. Just kind of scan it and then summarize. And in your own voice, say, all right, guys.
Right. And the other part too is just think about it mechanically. So you're running a game, you're the dungeon master. And so now you're looking at what you're reading. So your eyes are down and your voice is down, and you're not making eye contact with the people you're playing with, which is the whole point of playing together. And you know, generally, anytime you speak, you want to keep your chin up. You want to be communicating your voice forward. And now you're communicating your voice down while your eyes are also down. None of those are wins for human communication. And that's when people's eyes gloss over. And those are some of the reasons why I don't prefer the box text.
Your players can sense it right away when, you know, you're just like, all right, guys, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, you walk into a room. You are amazed by what you see. You know, you behold in front of you, and it's like, all right, so is this, you know, am I being sold Amway here or something? It's just completely kind of takes even the players out of, you know, the fantasy in a way. I mean, I know you're still reading, you know, something that's part of it, but man, just by virtue of you reading it like that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, every now and again, as a little, like if you have a monologue from a, you know, evildoer or something like that, that's fine. But as a regular every room kind of thing, no, I don't. I'm past that point.
You give the player a little bit of context, and they fill it in, and they feel that they're part of it.
Yeah, and then ask questions.
Right.
All right. So describe these pillars. Well, that's when you go to the next paragraph. Yeah. Pillars, you know, they're about yay big. Yeah, they got, you know, they're either limestone, they're marble, you know, whatever. Then you just kind of go from there. Yeah, don't try to wow them with like your dazzling, you know, flowery prose.
Yeah.
Be utilitarian. Everybody's much better for it. All right. Well, I know we only promised like an hour. We're already over. It always seems like we, when the conversation gets going with us, it kind of flows. But any final you know, benediction here, Greg? Anything you want to say to the folks?
Not really. I was just noticing in the chat there that people were talking about speed paints, and so I've been experimenting with them, and I can't get the look out. So I know what I want, and my vision for miniatures is very much informed by looking at the old Citadel catalogs from the early 1980s, and I just can't seem to get a similar look using speed paints. So now I'm just at the preliminary point of experimenting. But, you know, God bless the people who can, because I'm not there yet.
I use them, but I also use them. They say, oh, you don't need washes with them. You don't need highlights. Depending on what kind of a project it is, I'll still do highlights. I'll still do washes. But I love how it kind of puts together the look right away. I'm a huge fan of them. Just, if only for the reason you can bang out a lot of miniatures really quick. You know, and I'm staring at a British Napoleonic, like 13 millimeter army. It's the Warlord Games Epic Battles. We're talking, you know, quite a few stands there. And, for those, like contrast paints, speed paints are a godsend. But I still use them even for D&D miniatures. I think you get a good tabletop quality look. No, you're not going to win any awards with them, but you can still do some highlighting. You can still do some shadowing, with some further washes and stuff. So I like them.
Did I see you post something about painting bolt action?
Yes, yeah, I have a shitload of bolt action armies.
Nice. Do you play with the guys you play D&D with?
No. I play. And keep in mind, since I started the channel, that's the one thing that has suffered is my wargaming. But we have a pretty good game store here, especially for wargaming. And I would just go there. It was great. You just kind of showed up. They would have certain nights, or they'd have a tournament or like a league or something. Yeah, they'd match you together, and boom. I have, honestly, Greg, I probably have like 6 armies. Now my Germans and Russians are probably the biggest, but I can field like British, American, Romanian, Italian. I did Italian Social Republic, the waning days of World War II. It's a cool looking army. I love bolt action. And
All right, well, picks or it didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a problem. Every time I take a pic, it looks like shit. So I'll have to get my son here. He's actually a pretty good photographer. Roger says, remember, in the summertime, Greg will be at the Central New York RPG Con for those that can't make it to North Texas. Yes, and I'm also trying to make that work too, Roger.
So I've got Dave Con in April, and then North Texas, and then Central New York in June. Both those in June. And I'm planning to go to the Ken and James, his group has put a convention together in Austin in August, and hopefully LongCon in early November, possibly ShireCon in September.
You're a busy little bee.
Should be fun.
Yeah, Ryan, wife said no more riot inciting T-shirts for a while. Where's the fun in that?
Yeah,
exactly. All right. Well, look, we will let you go, Greg. But thanks as always for stopping by.
Absolutely.
We will hook up. We will definitely make it happen. But until then, too, you always know you're welcome on the channel. So if you have anything you want to get out or just want to talk, you have my number. Just hit me up.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys very much. Thanks for having me on. It's great to have a good chat, and look forward to seeing people at conventions or the next time I'm on the channel.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Greg.
All right. Take care, brother. We'll talk
Cheers.
to you soon. Yep. All righty.
I like that dude.
Let's keep him around.
Absolutely.
Andrew Thomas says he's going to Dave Con. Excellent. Yep. Greg is a really cool dude. And I'm trying to make it work on these conventions. Some of it is like work related. It just kind of falls. Anything at the beginning of the month. That's the hang up with North Texas for my 9 to 5. That's always my busiest time, but I don't know. I might be able to make it work. I don't know. We will see. All right. So great conversation there. Again, guys, if you haven't picked up Dragonslayer, give it a look on drive-through. You can get a print or PDF support, an old school player. Look, I'll tell you this, guys. His mega dungeons are some of the best role-playing you're going to find. Like Dwaro Deep. If you want to run Moria, essentially like Moria in your game, your D&D game, like get Dwaro Deep. It's really, really good.
It's awesome.
Yep.
It was quite an experience.
As we all know, Barrow Maze, Forbidden Caverns of Archaea. Speaking of Forbidden Caverns of Archaea, no Otto and Rorik tonight. Little hint there for some of you folks. But Crazy Mouse should be here next week, so we'll do a little more Otto and Rorik. I'll tell you what, I'll maybe, just maybe, we can do a little EFAP here. All right.
Nope, I haven't.
Uh-oh.
Tell me who that is, chat. Tell me who it is. I want to hear it before we...
Everyone say it together now.
The Van, Roxy, yeah, Overkill. Yep, thank you guys. Cyclops. Look at this. Ryan Nikolai just became a member. Thank you so much, Ryan.
All right.
Much appreciated, brother. Yeah, Cyclops. Apparently he was threatening to stop doing. I think what happens is these people leave X now, formerly Twitter, now X, and they go over to Blue Sky, the site for pedos, legit. And then they realize what it's like to be on a site with only those kinds of people. And they just get hammered nonstop about not being, about failing the purity test. And this has bothered him before. He's a coward, but he knows, I think, when they've gone too far. But he won't say anything. He is, of course, like I said, he's one of them at heart. Dwaro Deep. That's a great... Dwaro Deep. It is a fantastic mega dungeon. If you have gone through Barrow Maze, Dwaro Deep is just amazing. I'm saving it for someday when these guys, want to delve into the Dwarven Mountains. So it's out there for them if they ever want to. But holy smokes, is it good? Yeah. There's Highfell too. Highfell never gets the run that the others do. But yeah, check out Highfell too. All right, let's hear what Cyclops has to say.
Gone anywhere. I'm right here, still making all the stuff that I'm making and everything. Just wanted to be really.
He's got a snake tattoo on his arm. Did you notice that, Rogan?
I did notice the tattoo, but I wasn't sure what it was.
Yeah, how much character do you need? Your face is half blown off, and you have a gigantic snake tattoo.
Clear, because I think the Blue Sky post that I wrote the other day.
I don't know if that's a snake. Is that a snake?
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it's ironic that he has it on the arm that he doesn't have an eye on.
Okay. Put a little bit. It kind of gives some people the wrong idea. So here's what's going on. I have just accepted a position as a professor at a college that I am. Basically, this has been my dream job. My degree isn't in game design or anything like that. My degree is in jazz studies.
Huh?
Jazz studies?
Huh?
What? What?
You should be having a show, a cast about music. Does he play anything?
I don't
other
know.
than himself.
Such an odd, I don't know. It's just such an odd thing. Jazz studies.
I got a degree in jazz studies. Well, I have a degree in shoelace making.
Am I? It's like something you take at like MIT in like 1953. Yeah.
I'm a guitar player by trade. Me teaching at a college has been a dream gig for me. And it's actually at a college that I have been really dying to teach at because it was one that I attended. They had my resume and they reached out and I took the gig. It all literally happened within the span of like 20 minutes the other day. Thinking about it that night, I was like, immediately.
Mac Thompson, $2. Okay, what's with these boys doing anime hair? I have no idea. You're talking about us? You're not talking about us, are you?
Me taking that gig, it recentered a lot of things with my thought process and kind of my perspective on.
Patrick Demo bringing the heat, $2. Solid Snake's retarded brother, Limp Snake, yes.
A lot of things, And one of the things that kept kind of reoccurring to me is that, especially with everybody talking about leaving and everybody bringing up issues that are going on with the D&D stuff on YouTube and everything like that, everything got put into perspective, and I really just realized like how little this stuff really matters. Really, there's so much more important stuff going on in the world, and like, with
what would that be, Cyclops? What would that be?
Tell us, Professor. Tell us.
Why doesn't he have a monocle too? I mean, he's got the glasses kind of look a little weird.
Yeah,
I gotta say,
I didn't think about that, but that's spot on. This guy should have a monocle.
Good Lord, I mean, that would be like 3 things: the snake tattoo, the eye patch, and then a monocle. You know, that might be another overdose there, but
He needs a beret then. Oh, would it mess up his anime hair?
A beret. Trying to picture him in a beret. I think
Or
I
fez.
Can. I think I can. Oh, fez, definitely, yeah. These guys love fezzes.
Everything that's happening over here, I could be. I mean, the thing that everybody's talking about right now is, the fact that audience members are just not watching anything other than D&D content. So we all know it's the same problem that we were having 2, 3, 4 years ago, right? So if people aren't going to click on a video because, I decided to talk about like Triangle Agency or, I don't know, Into the Odd or Shadow Dark or something like that, right? If people aren't going to click on the video for that purpose, then like, I don't know, it's whatever. But I think
I love that people are getting tired of these guys. Oh, I don't get the traction I used to. It's like because you're fucking played out. I mean, we'll all be played out someday. Someday I will be too, but these guys just whine about it nonstop. It's like that. I don't know if we were talking about it last week, but all these D&D YouTubers, who are, like supposedly YouTube is telling them like, we're not going to promote your channel anymore. You best just to pack it in. I think you just don't have a point of view that's interesting. Like there's nothing interesting about this guy. Not one thing other than his eye patch. And once you realize like, oh, that wasn't something cool. He held an M80 too close to his eye or whatever.
I think at the end of it, what I have to look at is the growth there, right? Do I really think that there's there is really a future for me I could make a career out of? Because that's the thing that I really wanted to do with this. I really wanted to make it a career because I have a lot of fun doing layout, have a lot of fun doing writing, have a lot of fun doing game design and making a thing that it is now a thing that people can play and hold in their hands. There is something so very, very cool and meaningful to me about that process. But I can also get that same rewarding feeling out of teaching a student how to play an instrument. Like it feels more rewarding to do that.
Now he's in the like, I didn't want your stupid game anyway.
Yeah. In retrospect, this really wasn't that important.
Yeah, I'm going to teach somebody to be a award-winning guitar player. That's called sour grapes.
Well, my question is, his other hand, does he have all of his fingers? Can he?
Really?
Got to check these things.
Jazz hands. Have a lot of fun stuffing fruit up my ass. Grognard, ouch.
Honestly, I've wanted to get back into education for a little while. Haven't really had any openings for music actually in Tulsa for a while. But this one came up, and it's with a faculty of people who I consider to be good friends. They were faculty members whenever I was there, and then I looked up to them as mentors forever, and now I'm like, cool, I get to hop on board with this.
Yeah, real cool.
I'm very happy. This is the first time in a while I felt like I know, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to do. And it's still fun doing this stuff, right? I still have a blast going through TTRPG content and making TTRPG content.
All right, so let's look at his channel just for a sec. It's like they take you right to the... I mean, this is why he's doing it. All right, so he has 21,000 subscribers. Video 1 month ago, 2.7K. 1 month ago, 1.2K. 1 month ago, 2.4K. 1 month ago, 3.2K. These are awful metrics for a channel this size. Even 3.2. 4 months ago, 4,500 views. People are just tuning out. Now, 5 months ago, maybe that's where there was maybe that's when things kind of went south for him. 16K, even for a channel his size, that's probably about average. Okay, 20K. All right, so this is more like it, 27K. So it's like he was doing fine, and then there was maybe signs of it here. 3.5, 3.5, 5.5, 2. Yeah, I think he's been stumbling for a little while, and the reason is, now look, he's smart enough to when he talks about Candela Obscura, and this is that kind of famous video he made, 147K. Well, there you go. But that's the exception. The rule is he's not very engaging, and you can tell it in his views.
He is no longer relevant.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, look, people will tell you when either they're done with you or done with your content. They either want you to make a content shift, or maybe they're just tired of your ugly face. And oh well. That's why you don't want to be a full-time streamer or full-time YouTuber.
His audience wants to hear more about femboys and socialism.
Well, I mean, it's like I guess there is sort of an audience for that, but look, YouTube, for as much as we, do complain, rightfully so, how it's slanted by Google as being, kind of leftist, because Google is, the audience for YouTube is right-leaning, definitely right-leaning. And he's just, I don't think he has as big an audience on here as maybe he once did. I don't know. I don't think he has any particular views that are interesting, engaging. I mean, look, he's up to jazz history. Was it jazz history?
Yeah, jazz something or another.
I mean, what are you going to do? Jazz history. Give me a fucking break.
With a minor and tap dancing.
Yeah, with a minor and tap. Jesus. So, yeah, so this guy's not, to me, he's never been, the only interesting thing about him is that patch on his face. He has the most basic bitch takes, even when he's talking about regular gaming. It's just, there's nothing interesting. Yeah, you'll shoot your eye out, kid. Exactly, Sean. If we're talking in the parlance of professional wrestling, this guy can't draw money. He'd be the fucking Red Rooster. Indestructo boy. Just nothing. And now he's just kind of saying I kind of meant to do this. It's been my lifelong goal to teach little kids how to play jazz guitar. Really?
And I've got, a bunch of the zines right here that I print that I'm very, very happy that we...
I guarantee you none of that. That's like a paste. That's like role-playing paste for your eyes. There's nothing interesting whatsoever about it.
No crunch, no fluff.
No, it's just... I can't see that mind producing anything. It would just be boring. I'm not even saying it would be hilariously bad. I'm just saying it will be just forgettable. It just would be completely forgettable. Badger, $5. The N is upside down. He's not a D&D YouTuber. He's a dud tuber. Ooh, I like that. That's thinking outside the box.
We have in hand, planning to still do a bunch of other stuff with it. But here's why I made the post that I did. It's that I have been doing this full time since about, I left teaching in order to pursue this in 2022. There we go.
He's been doing this. Oh my Lord. Now that puts it in a different perspective. This is with 3 years of doing this. I see those. I got news for you, peeps. I don't want to tell you how the sausage is made, but when you have a video that has 5,000 views, you're lucky that's $10, $15. And he doesn't. I don't know if he does a lot of streaming. Let me check real quick, because he may get super chats, and stuff like that. Yeah, I guess he does stream. All right. still, I couldn't see quitting my day job to do this. This is a great side hustle. I love interacting with all these guys that show up every Wednesday. I do love kind of keeping track of, breaking stories from our point of view. But I couldn't imagine, like, all right, I'm going to go naked here, and this is now my career. Whew. I mean, maybe after I retire, but holy shit. If I'm in my prime earning years, and this guy's, I know he looks like hammered shit, but he can't be that old, right?
No.
He's got to still be in his, late 30s maybe, I'm thinking?
That's my guess.
Yeah. Jeez. Looking a little rough there. Didn't mean to pause like that, Taryn, but...
So I love teaching to pursue this because at that point, I was making around $3 to $4 grand a month doing TTRPG content.
$3 to $4 grand a month? What? Does he stream somewhere else that I don't know about? I mean, maybe early on he was getting a lot more fucking traction, but holy smokes. Now I'm going back to like all of his older videos.
He's really popular in the Philippines.
I guess, yeah. He said he took down a bunch of videos, but look, I'm looking at his back catalog right now. Yeah. It's still 4 years ago, 6.8K views, which means they didn't have much to start with. 3 years ago, 8,500 views. I mean, really, other than a couple of spikes, where he'll have like an 80K or 100K video, but those aren't like all the time. These are all videos like 2,500 views, 11K views. I don't know, man. I can't see his broke ass audience like supporting him on live streams either, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. $3 grand a month? Unless he's doing like some other shilling.
Mostly only
he's big in Japan. Yeah, he's big in Japan.
Over in the DMs Guild, but after the OGL situation, my revenue got
the after hours cyber BJs
by more than just half. I went from making $3,000 to $4,000 a month to making about $800 a month.
All right. So maybe he is. I think he's goosing up that 3,000. I don't know if he was ever making that. The 800 a month, I can believe. I absolutely can believe that now. That sounds actually pretty accurate for what. And I mean, so what? $10,000 a year being a YouTuber, and that's your career. Woo! $3 to $4 grand a month, says Jeff from Denkar for $5 Canadian. Maybe he's been getting free money from USAID. Yes.
Probably.
We know where some of that's gone to. Thank you so much, Jeff.
And it kept slowing down. And as Wizards of the Coast was talking more and more about doing their new edition and all this other stuff, my revenue every month kept going down. The thing that actually...
It's because he was too afraid to like really lay into him. Like I don't have a problem with it because I don't ever want to be invited like he was. I think he was up.
Was he invited?
I think he was invited. I don't know if he was there. I think he was there for the Creators Summit, if I'm not mistaken. So all these guys, they want to be what they consider big shots. They don't realize like it's a joke. Like Wizards of the Coast reaching out to you and saying, we love your stuff. That's like a sign you're doing awful. That's a sign you are one of the most like lame, uncool people in this sphere.
And when you say yes, you sold part of your soul.
Yeah. I got news for you. I hate to say it, but if you're going to do this as a career, fine, then you better treat it like that. And I mean, to go back to the professional wrestling analogy, if you're not earning money, then why are you doing it? And that's the only thing that matters then if this is your real job. So unless Wizards of the Coast is stroking you a check, which they don't do, they'll give you free stuff. They'll give you a free trip up to Washington. What does that mean? What does that matter?
And coupons for pizza.
Yeah. Free coupons in the cafeteria over there. It means nothing. I couldn't think of anything lamer than having, somebody at Wizards of the Coast reach out and say, man, we really love you.
Actually kept me afloat during all this time was all of you generous backers who went over and backed just the mere idea that I had for Vagabond, right? Like, that was incredible. That was able to get me and Amanda by for over a year. It was awesome, right? It's at the point right now where Vagabond is developed. We're doing some final typo fixes and everything like that, but like, I mean, other than editing and waiting on final artwork, which is all coming in like literally.
You see it?
Yeah, he's a huge fan, I guess. Good job, Soyclops. Yeah, we love it.
Good eyes, Bleaker.
Yeah. Bleaker.
By the hour. I don't have much to do with it,
He cleaned that.
I want to write adventures and stuff, but I'm not.
It's my black banner. You guys can get it in my secret store. It's the black Double D banner.
At a position where I don't have to do that. Like, I don't really have to do that to make a paycheck. Everything that I've done with TTRPGs is now just kind of building up a passive income for me. And I was like, well, if I were to do TTRPG stuff as side gig stuff and go back into teaching full time, I would basically be making like 2 sources of income, and I feel like I'd be happier. So what I've done, and this is the whole point of what I was trying to say the other day, I definitely.
Oh, those are music notes, maybe. Oh, okay. Looked like a snake. No one of consequence.
It did.
John Candy on SCTV a long time ago. He played this salesman, and he'd say, "Hi, I'm Harry. I'm the guy with a snake on his face." And he had like a tattoo of a snake on half of his. Back then it was hilarious because who would ever have a snake tattooed on their face? Well, now. You can probably at least online see one of them a day.
I really went off on a bit of a rant on that. No, I yapped on that. I yapped on that because I was just sick and tired of like worrying about this stuff for so long. Worrying about what people were thinking about. Like if I had literally gotten to a point where I was worried about like, hey, if I bring up I don't know, Mike Merles in a video, God, am I going to get canceled over on Twitter by somebody who thinks that he did something wrong, right? Like,
he's worried about this stuff.
Is he going through like a midlife crisis kind of thing?
But this is when you sign up for this side, this is what you get. It really is. Because you come on now. You do have to worry about that. It means something to him that people wouldn't like the fact that he's spoke positively about Mike Merles. And all Mike Merles did. I mean, he didn't like go after Zach Sabbath, I think. That was his big sin. Just I don't feel sorry for these people, but they're a cautionary tale. When you're on a side that will just cancel you for talking about certain people, I mean, why would you want to be with these folks? It's why on this side, when you call us a cult, we just shake our heads and be like, no, the sad tragedy is you are. Like you literally can't break free. I can say whatever I want on here. He can't. He has to police his words all the time, whether he's on Twitter or whether he's on YouTube, because he doesn't want to offend the wrong people.
That's got to be either exhausting or he's just used to it.
Oh, I don't doubt that it's mentally exhausting. Yeah, I wouldn't downplay that. Yeah. It's like 1984 with like Big Brother always hanging over you. You always putting on a front for people, even if you feel differently in your heart. You go to your 2 minutes of hate. Merles is a bad guy, but deep inside you're thinking like, actually, Mike Merles is a pretty interesting guy. Maybe not perfect, but I've been enjoying reading his stuff on X lately. A very good follow on X. And he's been kind enough to answer some of my questions pretty candidly. So I've kind of forgiven him about that stupid, hey dudes who are using math, you're fired from D&D. Because look, I'm not going to hold that against him anymore because I'm not one of these lunatics, If he's going to start treating people pretty evenly and, nicely, then I'm going to give them a second chance. DB $5. Betas worry about this because they hate who they are and can't stand that someone might think bad of him. Total bitch behavior. Absolutely. I've been dealing with this a lot because, it's because we're Trump round 2 now. And I really did think like, well, maybe this time they'll have the courtesy to shut their mouths, but they're not. And it is just kind of revealing, like people like I work around like on my floor. There is one of these little betas, DB, who just walks around. And today, he doesn't specifically talk about Trump, but it's always like seething underneath with him. Like today, he was talking about being in a store and like his brat of a daughter was said something like mean about the store, and the guy behind the counter just kind of looked up, and this little beta's like, yeah, he didn't dare say anything. He's like, he was probably looking at his crypto or something like that, and that just kind of caught my ears, and I'm like, huh. He just has this view of like, yeah, all the crypto bros, they're all bad. Let me tell you this, okay? If you don't view like crypto or any sort of investment like that just as an opportunity just to make a little money, you're stupid. I do occasionally go in and out of Ethereum. I don't do the shit coins and all that stuff. I can't see the value there. I will do Bitcoin and I'll do Ethereum. The two, for lack of a better word, the accepted ones. And it's like, I don't want to say it's like a license to print money, but it is. Like Ethereum drops in the 2000s now. It's 2,700. Yeah, I'm in. Give me X amount, which I've done over the last couple of days. I'll ride it out even if it goes lower. I might even add just a little bit more. But I'm pretty sure Ethereum is going over 3,000 sometime in the next half year. And it may get to 3,500 again. It was just there. And I know it's kind of a side tangent, but it comes down to this. Like all these little betas, they hate rich people, they hate successful people. And it's invariably because they have regrets in their own lives. They've fucked up, they've done stupid stuff, and now they hate successful people. They hate people that make money. So your goal, and I'm sure all you know this, is to stop listening to those people. If you need to just kind of, sure, whatever, dude, give them the okay sign. Do the exact opposite of these little fucks. Yeah. I trade in and out of Ethereum is not compatible with, I don't do shit coins. Yeah. Well, it's easy money. Easy money. I've been in and out of Ethereum 3 times. I've never lost money, and one time I made a decent amount of money. It's just I almost felt like I was doing something wrong. It was so easy. But it's literally just watching where it's at and like, oh, okay. There we go. Boom.
When anyone says easy money, anytime, I immediately think of Billy Joel and that song he did, Easy Money. I mean, it is boom. Anyone can say it, and boom, yep. I'm thinking just thinking of Billy Joel. Yep. Love that song.
Yep. It is a good song. It's been a while since I thought about that one. Yeah, invested $35, sold out at $750. Yeah, you must have been in the initial run up. Yeah, I mean Doge is okay too. Yeah, but I don't know. To me, it's just it's fucking easy. I don't know. I'm getting so tired of these people with regrets in their lives. It's like these family members and stuff like that. Just they're in for round 2 of like the Trump presidency, and I'm like, you gonna keep this up for 4 years, motherfucker? You're gonna keep this up for 4 years? How could you have the energy?
You gotta let go. You gotta let go. You have to let go, or stuff is so deep in a closet, and later on, when you're getting a whole lot older, when it bursts out, it just kills you.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. I didn't like the Biden presidency, but good Lord, I wasn't fucking spazzing out 24/7 for 4 years. I was looking to make money. And if you're not looking to do that, then, Double D, I regret meeting both my ex-wives. I can understand that, brother. I can understand that. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, so sort of a side tangent there, but just these at the end of the day, it's just these people are just losers. I mean, they will drag you down to their level. They will make you, and they're so accepted, and nobody will say anything to them. They'll just kind of try to beat you down with their fucking bullshit.
Sometimes in my mind, I think about it. Sometimes, and my mind says it's because sometimes it's a race between some of these people. You know, who has the most regret that they're holding on to? You know, well, I have more regret. I regret this. Yep. And it's not the sensical stuff. Like, man, I really regret not hooking up with that girl. You know, that's common regret.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's normal.
It's the dumb regret that has some sort of supposed meaning in their soul that has no meaning whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like I have a very, a very close relative, and I love him. But just look, he fucked up in his life, and now it's so bitter, and he's getting up there in years, and it's just so bitter. Like he talks about his nephew, who's a successful. He works at one of the wireless, cell phone companies. Killing it, VP,
that's awesome.
Yeah, every time he talks about this guy, it's always like, yeah, did you hear about, so and so? Apparently he's making this, he's doing this, and I'm just sitting there thinking like, this is like your nephew-in-law, I guess, married his niece. But I'm like, why aren't you happy that this dude is taking care of your niece? Oh, and by the way, he takes care of, the other extended family members too. Seems like a nice guy, but you can just tell the venom is there when he talks about him, just because this guy is more successful in his life and made better financial decisions. It's so sad. Don't live your lives with regret.
Wow.
Don't live your fucking lives with regret. It'll eat you up.
Your mind is on constant rewind of those thoughts that you've created in your own head. Constant rewind of that, I could have, I would, I wish I should have, blah, 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 and then point the finger at the person that is succeeding.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll tell you what, we'll scroll through my, we'll finish it up by scrolling through my, what did I bookmark? All right, Rogan.
Uh-oh.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot with Sarah Michelle Gellar. Oh, good Lord, this is going to be awful. First of all, Nora Zuckerman is like a big fat chick. And you can tell where she's coming from here, too. Honored to be part of this amazing team. This job is a dream come true. I don't post much at this website anymore. Oh, why, Nora? Why? So any updates, when I can share them, will be at the place where skies are blue, meaning blue sky, where the pedos roam free in their natural environment. So this is one of the people either producing or writing what is going to be a godforsaken reboot of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now we all know Joss Whedon got Me Too'd. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. But at least he had some talent. Chloe Zhao to direct Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I don't know if this is one of those like pussy hats. I don't know. I'm not sure. It looks suspiciously like one. But like, where? All right. So Buffy was a thing back in, the late 90s because, it's atypical of a woman to be a butt kicker, right?
Right.
Like female hero. Oh man, this is interesting. What do you do when it's been coming up on 30 years, just 30 years nonstop of that?
Right.
It's just going to be lost in the shuffle.
Oh, it'll be even more woke than ever. I don't know I don't know how you do that. Vampires are no longer vampires?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They'll figure out a way to, as Cartman said, make it lame and gay. The Buffy tabletop RPG by Margaret Weiss Productions is pretty good. I think I got the Angel one, Snake Oil Sean, somewhere. I never got the Buffy one. Never really cracked it much. I just picked it up essentially it's just sat in my collection. But yeah, it's like another freaking reboot. Why do we need this? This is just something we don't need. It'll be a season or two. I don't know why these people want to like essentially compete against like these legendary properties. And, like it or not, Buffy's is sort of a legendary property now.
I think it's a case of there's a certain small group of people that want to do this and start making up a storm about it and then get enough people to look at it. But honestly, everyone else doesn't give a shit. Well, I'll go back to Rollerball, for example. And other movies are iconic. We didn't need a remake.
No.
And that was a crap remake. And a bunch of the remakes of iconic movies that I saw back in the day, every time they've been remade, they're crap.
Yep.
I think this is a similar thing. There's a core group of small people. What if we could go back? What if we could do this?
We are out of ideas completely. Yeah, some people are noting in the chat that she directed The Eternals, which was a huge flop.
Oh God.
Did you see it?
Oh yeah. Oh,
not good.
I love comics. I enjoyed the Eternals. Some of the individual characters I loved an awful lot. But boy, what a steaming pile that was.
there you go.
God.
That's your new Buffy director there. ESPN is telling us President Trump signed an executive order Wednesday designed to prevent people who were biologically assigned male at birth from participating in women's or girls' sporting events.
Good.
Yeah. Way to phrase that though, ESPN. Instead of just saying it was designed to prevent men from participating in women's or girls' sports. Biologically assigned male.
And ESPN, they should be spearheading this.
They don't. ESPN is so woke.
It's nuts. I mean, like, meh.
Yep. I love Grums's post here. This is Reddit now. If they had the power. Yep.
This is from.
You recognize this?
Yeah, I know it's from. What it's from. Three Body Solution.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Waving their little red books. They'd be flourishing their masks or something like that. This is Cultural Revolution. They are all about that. All about that. Grums also brought this up. Do you remember this 10 years ago? I can't believe it's been this long. This scientist, I believe it was the Rosetta mission, which put like a probe or something on another planet or an asteroid or something. He showed up to a press conference wearing that shirt. Do you see?
He's got a bunch of hot babes in it.
A bunch of hot chicks. The scientist who caused a furor by wearing a sexist shirt as he gave a progress report on the Rosetta mission on Wednesday has made an emotional apology for his big mistake. Matt Taylor was more plainly dressed on Friday as he broke down in tears at a briefing.
Oh, God.
Apparently struggling to speak before confessing, I made a big mistake and I offended many people and I'm very sorry about this. He didn't realize what was happening. I mean, I don't like, Grums, Mark Kern thinks that maybe he was like patient zero for like cancel culture. I think there were people before that, but I remember this being a big thing. And he made the mistake of thinking that, if I'm sincere, and I really am, I'll be forgiven. These people, as we've said numerous times, it's not about the apology. It's about now we have you. You just apologize. Now we got you by the balls.
These people aren't
You're ours.
These people aren't the Quakers.
No. Don't ever apologize to these people. I'd have showed up like in a sport coat, like not revealing anything. You know, I'd be like, I just wanted to say I'm going to read from this prepared statement. I'd take my fucking sport. It would be like twice as like lewd as these. I'd be showing bare titties on the shirt. How do you like me now, you fucking bitches? Go fuck yourself. But I mean, their goal is literally to destroy this person because they were offended. It's not even that. So do we agree with women we love women in sex work now, don't we? Oh, that's like a great thing.
Oh, yes.
OnlyFans,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
powerful for women.
Empowering, yes.
You got women here who are just kind of in like leather, tops. And they made this guy like probably borderline suicidal. Now look, some of that is on him for being weak. But still, that doesn't excuse their behavior. Evil motherfuckers.
How about going back and have this guy walking up? He's told to apologize and say, "Listen, my shirt had nothing to do with the project I'm talking about. You're here about the project. Screw my shirt."
Yeah.
You don't like, close your eyes and listen to me.
I'm telling you, motherfuckers, how I landed a fucking a probe on on a asteroid or a comet or whatever the fuck he was doing. He's got to be smarter than all these people. Every last one of them. But he still felt bad enough because he probably has a conscience. I don't know where he is now, but I hope he realizes probably not. He's probably completely captured now. Evil motherfuckers. Yep. Hope they all die. Horribly.
Oh,
here we go.
I can't.
Here we go. Ta-da.
You're dating a misandrist and you've transitioned in front of them and they are like part of the reason you're struggling to even identify as a man or a trans masculine. You're like, I'm, non-binary, but hey, I am complicated. I'm non-binary. I'm a woman. I'm also a man though. And I do look like this and I'm walking the world like this. And so this person during one of our fights was like, I don't see you as a man though. And I said, that's weird. Everybody else fucking does. And they were like, I was like, you maybe should look at me a little closer because what are you seeing? What are you seeing? And why do you hate men so much that you can't even, you're generalizing about this huge group of people. You need to work on your shit with your dad or whoever is the problem because I'm not it. I am a separate person that you have a separate relationship with and you need to stop projecting onto me.
Yeah, they're
You're dating a misandrist.
Projection. Oh my Lord. He's got the gall, the absolute gall to talk about projection. Good Lord.
He looks male. He doesn't want to be called male. He doesn't want to be called female. I don't know. But I think about the other guy we watched a handful of weeks back, the little clip of the guy. He's in his car. He's got boobs. He had a boob.
Oh, yes.
But
yeah,
he had
yeah.
a beard. He's like
Yeah.
wonderfully trimmed beard,
Yeah.
going nuts that someone did call him a guy.
Yes.
Yeah. And where's the bar at? Where's the what you guys need to find your level first before you brought this shit to us, and then we would have the opportunity to say, no, just go away. But no, there's no consistency. There's no.
Well, the goal is to create these sorts of situations. When you go out, dressed like this, that's the goal. The goal is to create these situations so you can then bitch about it. DB $2. We're sending him to Canada, right? Yeah, Greg's going to be really happy about that. Okay with me, though. It's okay with me. All right, so this is kind of... All right, so I don't hate this person, but I don't know, man. If this is our army, kind of hoping Trump kind of cleans things out a little bit.
Okay, so I just went in a military building. These bitches just told me to go in this building, and they were like, okay, get your dental stuff done, and the thing opens at 8, and so I showed up like half an hour early, and this scary-ass drill sergeant-looking guy,
Scary ass.
I can't believe for a second this guy's actually in the military. I can't believe it.
I mean, he's got to be.
You're gonna talk like that scary ass. Are you fucking kidding me? Where's the fucking discipline? Are we? I mean, is our military lacking that much in discipline?
I'm gonna guess he came in the last 4 years. We'll see.
He came up to me and he was like, "Go get a fucking haircut. Don't come back in this fucking building until you get a haircut." I was like, "Okay, yes, sir." He grabbed this part of my uniform and was like, "When you're in this uniform, you need to abide by the standards in AR 670-1. And I was like, "Yes, sir." He was like, "Go get a haircut right now and don't come back in this building until you get a haircut." I was like, "Okay." So I am on my way to get a haircut because that was scary as fuck. So if I look like a fucking army rat when I get guys, I look like I'm about to go.
Give him credit. At least he got the haircut.
Yeah,
did get the haircut,
dude.
Yeah.
You followed the order that was given to you. That's how it works. Out.
Maybe now you'll actually start acting like a soldier.
The fucking war.
You're lucky that commander, whoever it was, didn't make you gather up all the clippings you hear and dig a 6 foot deep hole and bury it.
Duck lips.
Oh God.
Yeah, somebody said "sir" to a drill sergeant. Not in the military. Yeah, that's Joe. Yeah. I work for a living. Excuse me, you're very scary looking. Oh, we talked about this. I showed this. Yes. Greatest character in the U.S. Army in MASH. Colonel Flag. Yeah, this... all right, so maybe we'll end on this. We'll wrap it up. But just to show you, a lot of these politicians, they talk out of both sides of their mouth. You can find stuff 10 years ago, Chuck Schumer talking about a secure southern border. And then they change with the wind. Here's Donald Trump in 2012. I mean, just listen to him.
And somebody said, well, what would you do? What can you do? So easy. I drop a 25% tax on China. And I said to somebody that it's really the messenger. The messenger is important. I could have one man say, we're going to tax you 25%. And I could say another, listen, you motherfuckers, we're going to tax you 25%. And
that's what you want in a president. You want consistency. You want somebody who's going to fight for your country. And I can't tell you how much I love that guy. Even you people who are lukewarm, you are going to smile when you look back at the days of Trump, because this is a special era. It's kind of like, maybe in some respects, like the Kennedy era, sort of the Reagan era too was a little special. Andrew Jackson's era. It's going to be fucking fun, man. You're never going to find a president who's just so blatantly like, why are we doing this? This is stupid. When everybody knows that what we're doing is dumb, but we have this sort of conceit that, well, things have always just been kind of done like this. So we really need to, we really need to fuck over our workers and not sell cars to the Europeans. Why? I love that we have a president who's finally saying, that's bullshit. All right, well, you want to sell your cars here? We're going to hit you with a tax. Oh, I love it. If you know anybody in your life who doesn't like him, tell him it's too bad. He's doing the right thing. Camelot is on the horizon, boys. Yep, and it's going to be better than Camelot. It's already longer. We already had 4 years of a pretty good economy. Yeah, I get a feeling that once we get these, the whole tariffs thing settled, and he gets his way. It's to the fucking moon, man. I love it, and I'm so looking forward to seeing these people seethe for 4 years. There are people in their 80s who are just going to be seething. It's like, how much time do you have left? What do you have, 5-6 years maybe?
Right, if you're lucky.
Yeah, and you're instead you're going to be seething about Orange Man bad again. 8 years of the golden years of your life. Like I said, I didn't like Joe Biden. I laughed at him. I thought he was ridiculous. I thought he was horrible for the country, but I just went to work and fucking made money. Yeah, I shit posted. Yeah, I started a YouTube channel. I mean, that wasn't in response to Biden. That was just kind of part of the environment, though.
He was an awful president.
Oh, it's one of the worst, almost objectively speaking. He just, there's no, but in the same respect, I did not wake up every day and think about how Joe Biden was screwing me over, like how these people do with Trump and rich people and all that stuff. Losers. I said it before. Just outwork them, out-earn them, outthink them, and just watch them suffer. It's the old thing. I know you're kind of a Buddhist sort of, Rogan, so, it's like a life well lived is probably the best, revenge, right?
Yeah. And in the grand scheme of things, honestly, the investment you put in this, will eventually be your reward. So what are you going to invest in it? Are you going to be losing your marbles every other day? Like you said, these people that are up there in age, your last moments in your life, and you're going to, you've got grand things to think about, wonderful things that you can look back on, and probably some amazing things right in front of you. This is the least of it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. I think it's so funny. You have a president that's so pro-American. He's just sort of revealed like the cancer in the body that some of these people just don't like this country. They think they're ashamed of it. They're ashamed to be Americans. Yeah, what you gonna do? But I love America, imperfect as it is.
I like living here. It's pretty awesome.
Yep, and it's worth fighting for. And I'm so glad we fought. And we got somebody in there who loves this country even more than we do. I don't think anybody loves this country more than Donald John Trump. All right. Any final words, Rogan?
Oh, no. You guys are an awesome bunch. Can't hit the what you guys are saying fast enough. Greg Gillespie is always good dude. Really cool dude. I really enjoy it. And he makes some amazing stuff.
Super smart guy.
Super smart guy. Very creative.
Yeah, it doesn't make you feel. That's like Crazy Mouse. That's always his one of his kind of litmus tests, for people. If you're a smart person and he doesn't try to make you feel dumb, Crazy Mouse is all about you. He'll be like, I like that guy. And he doesn't talk down to anybody. He's genuinely interested in you, and. It's that's exactly how you should be.
Yeah, Crazy Mouse is really quick to pick up on that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. All right.
And next week, Rourke and
Otto and Rourke.
Otto and Rourke.
Yeah. Yep. All right. What's Cal? What are you talking about here? Sex callous. Shame on you.
Uh-oh. We have to start reading some of this stuff.
All right, chat.
Uh-oh. Howard Hughes hit us.
Oh, Howard.
Bam!
Howard. My man. Wait till it comes up on here. Oh, there we go. Didn't even know you were in there, buddy. Thanks for the stream, folks. Cheers. Yes.
Thank you.
If we missed you in the chat at all tonight, Howard, sorry, but make yourself say anything you wish. You were always, very generous. You and Snake Oil Sean and Mercurius and DB, all the rest of you guys, Jeffrem, every one of you, all the people I'm probably forgetting. Thank you so much for chipping in, making this all worthwhile. I really do appreciate it, man. I really do.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's. What can I give you guys? Howard, what do you want to hear in the chat? Well, I'm not on. I'm gonna say I'm not on OBS. Do you want to hear anything special, Howard? I may have something. Bitter. I don't have bitter tricks. I don't think. Got to boost you to Soyclops level. Yeah, it's all right. I got a 9-to-5 that pays, quite frankly, a lot more than Soyclops is pulling in. Wonky, good to see you, buddy. Yep. All right. Yeah, rewatch. Yeah, please do. Yep. Like I said, when you're ready to get together, give me a holler, Wonky. We'll go over if you have any questions or anything about the work for all that stuff. Let me know. Other than that, I'm just going to assume you're just keeping on. So take your time and do a good job. I appreciate it. All right. I'll tell you what. Do you guys want
girls on trampolines?
Girls, there we go. Yeah. Could do some Holy Diver.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
That's art right there.
Yeah, we'll do a Holy Diver.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Take care. Peace. Love y'all. We'll see you soon. I've been doing good on these videos. If you guys saw, I got a little mainstream run with my video game scoop, and that's thanks to my one of my sources inside Wizards of the Coast. So all glory to them. They of course can't claim it, but I really do appreciate it. So,
Before you guys leave, hit the like button.
Yes.
It's free.
Yes.
And on this YouTube thing here, there's a library of videos that Double D's been doing for a while now, and you haven't seen them all, do check them out. You will be enlightened.
Yes. If you're a newcomer, please do. Yep. Okay. All you guys, thanks. Take care. Get some Holy Diver for you. Have a great rest of your night. Until we talk again. Peace.
Something is coming for you. Look out! Race for the morning. You can hide in the sun till you see the light.